Welcome to another edition of Investor Talk, proudly brought to you by Real Estate Investor. I'm Neil Peterson, and we know the property market is changing. And while many investors continue to chase capital growth, some of the most successful property investors today are focusing on something very different, and that is cash flow, risk management, and smart deal structuring. And at the same time, a growing number of investors are looking beyond traditional buy-to-let investments and exploring opportunities that not only generate attractive returns, but also create meaningful social and economic impact. So this is where the concept of impact investing comes into play. And whether you're a property investor looking for better returns, a property owner facing financial pressure, or simply wanting to understand how professional investors are structuring deals in today's market, this is a conversation you do not want to miss. And joining me today is Daniel Lombard, and he's the founder of Wealth Assist and Real Estate Assist, two companies that have helped investors identify, structure, and manage residential property investments across a range of market cycles. Daniel, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Neil. Much appreciated and really looking forward to this chat.
Absolutely. So Daniel, impact investing certainly has become one of the fastest growing themes in global finance. And I think for those unfamiliar with the concept, what exactly is impact investing in the property space? And why are more investors paying attention to it today?
Yeah, thank you, Neil. I think, first of all, to just chat about the more general aspect of property impact investment. I think all over the globe, South Africa is actually quite a bit behind of the rest of the world. When I look at that, I mean, it is something that is really has been very aggressively followed over the last, I would call it probably 5 to 10 years internationally. And it all goes about, specifically, I'm going to focus more on the residential property impact investment, where we specifically look at sustainable financial returns for investors while they are actually creating a measurable social and financial positive outcomes for homeowners, for tenants, for families, communities. And it obviously entails quite a bit more than what the Wealth Assist side does from their side. So it focuses on providing stable, affordable housing, for instance, which we know is a shortage all over the world, as well as improve financial security, support mental and emotional well-being, preserve wealth. All those type of things are part of that. And then we're not talking about things like even on the buildings, like your typical electrical, those type of things going off the grids, being more green in construction, etc. in those things. So those are the more, if I can call it, general kind of approach that is in the world. With Wealth Assist specifically, Wealth Assist is more creating both social and financial impact by providing practical property solutions. So guys who's in trouble, going through an experience, and the system in that position where they are in, and bringing real practical solutions for unlocking equity, overcome financial distress, those type of things, preserve equity in some cases, avoid forced sales, and regain financial stability in a household, So I think that is very important. And then through our recovery programs, we obviously help people to actually keep the home, and helps with then the family with really keeping that social fabric in place, instead of misusing people's misfortune like it used to happen in the past. And a lot of investors these days want to make sure that they want to participate in something which is sustainable, because these other pathways that is not sustainable, like the stressed buying and that type of thing, buying people's properties for far below market value, is obviously not sustainable models.
Okay, so we're seeing many property owners are facing financial pressure, as you said, due to rising costs, and we're seeing higher debt servicing expenses, underperforming assets. So how can impact investment structures help distressed property owners protect their wealth and also avoid making poor decisions during difficult times? And maybe just share some of also the more common challenges you're seeing.
I think impact investment structures can provide alternative to traditional distress sales, as we mentioned, by introducing patient capital and strategic support that helps the property owner preserve that equity, and obviously in a way that it's has dignity around it. It's not you're trying to force a person to make certain decisions and that type of thing. Stabilize their financial position. When a guy's in trouble, he normally makes the wrong decisions, things like that, because he is so stressed, or even if it's sometimes during trauma or whatever that have created that. And they don't make informed decisions, So I think the key for wealth assists investors is that we actually come to the party, bring that stability from the real estate assist side into the owner's life. And that, we call it our real estate investors, or direct real estate investors, provide that help to that client and actually make a huge difference in sorting out those type of things. Rather than forcing owners to sell at heavily discounted prices, things like that, they go through these legal processes that is also there, that is involved. And sometimes they want to use opportunity. Sometimes not always just the stress. Sometimes it's also they have got an impaired credit score or whatever that is. They sit with a lot of equity in their property, but can't unlock it. So those are part of that. But I think one of the big things for me is in the global industry, residential industry, there's a lot happening around the financial, if you look at how they help people, all of it is driven towards that in a lot. And the large funds are residential funds and those type of things in the US, in the UK, those type of countries are happening currently. But with where we see a lot of us in South Africa, we're lagging a bit on that, but it's moving towards that. And a lot of investors are now asking for that specific type of investments where they can make a difference while they're actually making excellent returns or good returns. So I think the typical solutions that you will look at, I think if that does it address that question for you?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, you talk about the importance of cash flow over speculation. I think, that you talk about a lot. So, so why is cash flow becoming the most important metric for property investors in 2026 and going forward?
Yeah, I personally believe that we've in the past we have experienced the same. Cash flow was always for me very important in any real estate investment. I don't personally think that has ever not been important, but I think so much more at this stage because of this volatile market that we are experiencing at the moment, a global market which is affected by something like Mr. Trump may decide to close the Strait of Hormuz or things like that. It really affects everybody. So today's market, successful investors are increasingly focused on assets that generate consistent, predictable incomes, I think, and strong cash flow fundamentals, recognizing that cash flow provides the foundation upon which these long-term capital growth and wealth creation is built. So I think if we do that, and if we look in in South Africa, our capital growth, Neil, over the time, have declined. Specifically, the capital growth side of things have declined quite a lot from the past. where we used to have double figures on capital returns regularly over the years, it has now dropped drastically to monthly, to single digits. And I think that now we have to rely substantially more on the positive cash flow side in the rental side, because it also provides income to service debt, fund maintenance, absorb unexpected expenses, withstand periods of vacancy, things like that, which is all part of your real estate investment. And it also obviously reduces risk and improve portfolio stability. If you've got some properties that may have a bit of a challenge, you have others that are well catered for. And I think a lot of people make the mistake where they don't actually budget properly. You can't have a budget for a real estate investment that doesn't, for instance, foresee for vacancies, doesn't foresee for maintenance, doesn't, those type of things are potential escalations. Are you doing stress tests for those type of things?
So one of the themes of your recent research is that successful property investing is all about deal structuring, risk management, and also due diligence. So what does a well-structured residential property investment look like today for you?
Well, I think, and Neil, it's a nice one for all of us to always be able to cover all these type of things, which is sometimes a challenge in every opportunity. But I think I'm going to highlight a few. So like demand. I think demand for me determines the exit strategy. So if the area is in demand, if the price range is in demand, if the type of property is in demand, if the specific type of model of residential type of property investment, like for instance your various options in like student accommodation or those type of things are there, then that is what you need to look for. You need to look for all the residential sectors with proven long-term demand fundamentals. And if they are there, then you've got a good start. Risk diversification, I think, across different transaction types, property types, locations, and strategies, just not to put all your eggs in one basket, like we know, is not a good strategy, So, and then purchase cost, very important. Buy your profit, purchasing at the right price, below market value, making sure that you already buy some of the risk and address the risk through buying at the right price. Cash flow positive, as you mentioned, Neil, is always something very important for the Wealth Assist guys from our side. We really look at that. And it needs to be a proven or secure market-related rental. Sometimes we get transactions which is not really market-related, and you get a bit more or less, preferably get less than what the market rental is, because then there's also scope for if there's changes in the market and that type of thing. Structurally sound properties. Do you do a proper real estate investment structure inspection or predetermined maintenance quotations? A lot of transactions, people go into deals and then they, on the end of the day, sit with a situation where they haven't budgeted properly for the maintenance or the improvements, and then they want to sell it or that type of thing, and it runs over time, over budget, that type of thing, and then suddenly your profits start disappearing, So predetermined exit, always stress test. What if that strategy that you are following is not going to work? Have you got an alternative? What is that alternative? Will it be sustainable and executable? Cash flow focused investment structures, ensuring investments are not depending on capital growth only. And then I think specifically with Wealth Assist, I think I want to touch on those are the general market things which I just mentioned, but with Wealth Assist, we believe the asset-backed security need to always be 75% of less of market value, 75% of market value or less, and it always needs to include your specific costs related. It's easy to say I buy for 75%, but my transfer duty is so much, and all those type of things. Maintenance is going to be so much. So we all include that in the 75%. Contractual cash flow, positive income, prime +2 at least. So even if you finance, you'll always be in a positive from day one. Triple net leases are things that Wealth Assist offers, which doesn't exist in the market mostly on the residential properties. Rental guarantees for most of our opportunities and our specific type of products, investment products, is we've got those guarantees, 3 months or more rental deposits, and I think contractual, clear, defined exit strategies. I think that is something that's missing. Predetermined returns obviously doesn't even exist in most. Predetermined capital growth. I also believe in conservative loan to value exposure levels, because that also is a thing that bites you. And obviously making sure that you stress test everything, not only listening to what the person is saying to you. I see a lot of mistakes made due to just going on assumptions,
So Daniel, I mean, despite all the information available and also, what you said, many investors still make costly mistakes. I mean, what are the biggest errors you see investors making in the current market?
I think the key is that people rely on themselves. They sometimes, I believe, too shy to ask. I think that is one of the biggest challenges for me. Using, for instance, if you want to buy in an area, what is the homework that you're actually doing to determine who's the agent in that area, all those type of things. So entering the market just by yourself, and even if you know a lot and you're a seasoned investor, I mean, even in my case, I'm more than 40 years in the property industry, but I never just rely on my own information. We've got a professional team of people that involved in these type of transactions that do a proper due diligence, thorough research every situation, go and see how we can mitigate these risks, So I think that's number one. People too much rely on their own information and knowledge. Is a lot of people buying emotionally, seeing this huge opportunity. They are promised all kinds of returns that looks beautiful and those type of things, but they haven't really looked into it, researched that. So I think that research is very important for any investor. Underestimating operating costs, I feel, is also something that we see often. People are not, when I normally, because we do render that service providing to real estate owners who wants to, or investors who wants to ask us, listen, I've got an opportunity here. We will help you. If you're one of our registered or provide or those type of investors who are registered with us, we will assist you with that. We look at those opportunities. We can review them and see what is the due diligence on that. There's a cost to that, but it's minimal comparing to the mistakes that you pay for.
Excellent. Thanks for that, Daniel. So finally, Daniel, if you were sitting across the table from a property investor, say with 5 million rand to invest today, and your reputation depended on helping them build sustainable wealth over the next decade, where would you invest? What would you avoid and why?
Yes, so this is very biased now, Neil, but I think I think through the years, unfortunately or fortunately for us, we have really proven that the Wealth Assist model and the alternative investments that we do have is one of the places where I would really invest, and I'm already staking my reputation on that for the last 20 years, but in a more formal way in the Wealth Assist system. And we have really increased and improved our model. We have done a lot of things over the 13 years contractually, which have really improved what we do. But I think the key for residential property in South Africa, there's always been a demand. And if you purchase in the right areas at the correct prices, you will always have at least a good or above good return. There is huge shortage in residential properties in the correct price ranges, obviously, and the correct areas. There's a lack of development, so supply and demand on housing is a real issue for South Africa, and especially up to the 3.5-5 million mark. A lack of funding in the residential industry in other, like comparing to other countries, there's not huge builds and new erections of new developments, etc. So that is very limited, and obviously due to the demand, you will always, I believe, have a good investment. With Wealth Assist or similar companies, I would invest, and alternative residential investments, I will be looking out for those type of things, because that will keep you in the market above the average type of returns. Make sure that the people who you work with or you surround yourself with those investments obviously is planning it properly, managing it properly, and have proper exit strategies. So in our case, we have more than 100 years experience in the residential property collectively in our company. We have a 13-year track record where the lowest returns at any stage was a net yield of 16.95, more or less. So that's always a good place to start, to look at people's track record and see if they can actually do that type of investments, and making sure that your investment is at least safe, preserving capital, making good returns, those type of things. I think that is the key.
All right. So Daniel, thank you very much for sharing your insight with us today. I think what stands out from this conversation is that successful property investing in today's market is becoming less about speculation and more about strategy. A big thank you to you, Daniel. He's the founder of Wealth Assist and Real Estate Assist, for joining me today and sharing his expertise. I'm Neil Peterson, and this has been Investor Talk, and brought to you by Real Estate Investor. Until next time, stay informed, invest wisely, and continue building wealth through property.